Good afternoon, and welcome to Asynchronous Back to School Night. My name is Dr. Murphy, and the topic here is Forensics 2. My email address is jmurphy3@ebnet.org. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have concerns or questions about your child and what they're doing. The doctor means I have a PhD. It's certainly not in forensics. I did teach at a major state university for 17 years. I have a very good idea what leads to success at that level if your child's interested in going on to community college or college. And so along with teaching forensics, I'll be concentrating on study skills and organized ways to approach topics, that the kind of thing that will help your child with success at that level. Now, the material for the course will be available on the Canvas interface. We also have a textbook for the course, which is in the classroom. I typically will not assign much homework in an elective like this, and so when we work out of the textbook, it'll be in the classroom and we'll discuss there. Now, as far as the curriculum for forensics, forensics is basically a way of approaching a crime scene to produce evidence that can lead to hypotheses about who was involved and what happened in a crime, and then being able to present that in a court of law in a persuasive way. So it involves both, collecting things at the scene of a crime, and it's a really interesting thing that the victim is typically present at the scene of the crime, but the perpetrator is not. And so you're collecting little traces and things that can lead you to figure out what happened to produce this crime scene, and then you present that. As such, forensics is not really a science itself. It's a set of techniques, each of which is more or less scientific. And so for virtually any scientific field, there is a forensic science. So there's a forensic biology, forensic chemistry, forensic psychology, forensic anthropology, forensic entomology, which is the study of insects, which is useful in dating bodies. But anyway, the gold standard for the scientific part of forensics is DNA analysis. And the reason why that's the gold standard is behind DNA profiling is an enormous peer-reviewed scientific field. And also the DNA analysis individuates the identity, right? It pins the identity of the persons involved down. Though DNA evidence also can be compromised by careless handling of a crime scene, contamination of samples, etc. Other parts of forensics are somewhat less well established scientifically. Fingerprints are good. They're tangible and concrete, but there is an interpretive aspect to it. Ballistics, for example, that we're studying now is part physics, part technology. That's fairly scientific. Forensic psychology is often just plausible guesswork. But the thing that's interesting, I think, to students about forensics is there's a puzzle-solving aspect to it. So you get just these little clues at the crime scene, and you have to logically construct back from those facts hypotheses about who did it, who the victim was, and also eliminating people who weren't involved. I imagine that's why the crime genre of novels and TV shows is so popular, because you see those pieces fall into place. And so I think that most of your children have approached this course because they're curious about it. They think it's interesting. Now, I also have to say, though, that forensics is irreducibly about crime scenes, and crimes involve persons harming other persons or their property. And if it's a person harming another person, it involves violence. And so there's something inherently triggering about the subject matter of forensics. And what I've told your students, we've discussed this frankly, and I've said, if you find yourself uncomfortable with a particular case study we're doing or something else, you can get an alternative assignment. You may want to step out of the room. We won't be real explicit at this level, but honestly, at the college level, forensics is very explicit about the sorts of violences that occur. Anyway, I wanted to state that I understand that the subject matter is sensitive and that students may or may not feel uncomfortable with it. So what I encourage is for them to just come and talk to me and say, I'd rather not participate in this. Now, another thing I wanted to say about forensics is it's a very practical possibility for the future for your child at almost any level. I had a really interesting experience with student surveys this year. I always ask the students at the beginning of the year, well, where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years? You know, write something down specific. And in past years, students write all these highly specific things. I want to be, you know, a professional golfer doing this and that, or I want to be an orthopedic surgeon living here. You know, whimsical. I would like to be, you know, staring out a window and enjoying a nice sunny day, something like that. The overwhelmingly most common response this year was, I would like to have a stable job. And that just speaks volumes to me about what families and children have been through over the last 18 months, that's what is really important to them now. And so what I want to say is that forensics is a really practical possibility as a career. And the thing is, you can study anything at the community college level or the college level and lead to a career in forensics. You can study any of the sciences, you can study criminology, or even something unrelated, and you can get into a forensics field. Right? If you study the science, you may be headed for the forensics laboratories, but you can also get to that kind of a field through police work or through FBI, etc. So I think it's something that's a real possibility for any of the 24 students that I have in the class, and it can lead to a very fulfilling and interesting and exciting career. Now, last thing, we have moved to block schedule, which means instead of one 42-minute period a day, there's one 82-minute period every other day. And I don't think that presents any large problems. It just means that we'll have to do multiple, you know, between 2 and 4 separate activities each day. So my expectation is that your child come in, everyone must be masked and must be on task for the 82 minutes. And if we can keep that, I think they'll have an interesting course and that can lead to an exciting field, and they'll do well. As far as assessments, we'll have small quizzes for each unit, nothing major. There will also be typically a group project of some sort, and we have labs and that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to working with your kids, and you know, the topics we're going to cover this year are, let's see, ballistics, document analysis, arson, cyber crimes, and how to date a body when you don't know. You know, there's all sorts of different ways to find out when the thing occurred. So that should be pretty interesting. We're starting out with ballistics. That's right in my wheelhouse. I teach physics, you know, and that's essentially, you know, firearms and bullets behave according to the physical laws, and so we're going to enjoy that. So again, contact me if you have any questions, and encourage your child to be on task and do their best in class, and we'll have a good time. Good night.